Hello, and thank you for joining us on another project. Today I will be doing one of my favorite organizing and decluttering projects using the KonMari method. The area that we will be focusing on is the storage cabinet in my upstairs sitting area. Over the years, unfortunately, this cabinet has become a catch-all for all the arts, crafts, DIY, and aromatherapy projects that I've started from time to time. It's not only virtually impossible to find anything from this mess, but it also creates a lot of visual clutter and chaos and gives me constant anxiety. So let's dive into the process and let me give you a quick review of the KonMari method. This is Dr. Atika and welcome to the Controlled Living Experience. If you have an interest in organizing, then I'm sure you must have heard the name of Marie Kondo. She is of international fame, hails from Japan, and she wrote a series of books, the first of which was The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. It explains in detail the concepts of the KonMari method. Now, even though we'll be going over most of the concepts, I still highly recommend that you either purchase this book or look her up online for further details. Now, if you decide to give KonMari method a try, the first and foremost thing to do is to commit yourself to the process. It not only allows you to have a chance to be mentally, physically, and financially prepared, but also helps you to look into the logistics. For example, where are the donations going to go? How are you going to discard some of the elements? And do you require any expertise regarding repairs and replacements? The whole idea behind this is to create a positive ambience so that the experience does not become emotionally or physically overwhelming. Marie Kondo herself begins the process by dressing up into comfortable and presentable attire and by thanking all of the spaces and the items that need to be decluttered and organized. For me personally, having a large chunk of time, which is enough to complete the process, is very important, along with having a good amount of snacks and good music to get me through the process. The success of every project in life depends upon what endpoints you have in mind. As soon as you're going to start decluttering, you are going to be surrounded by chaos, and it's very easy to get lost in the chaos and get demoralized. Therefore, that brings us to the second very important concept of the KonMari method, which is imagine your ideal lifestyle. Now, I have a minimalistic approach, and my ideal situation is if everything I own is one that brings me joy and has a purpose. This brings us to one of the most crucial steps, which is finish discarding first. This includes the recycling, repurposing, donating, and also throwing away the unnecessary items. This step happens to be the most emotionally taxing of all, and the whole idea of keeping only those items that spark joy comes into place here. A very good example of this is the silk embroidery project that I ran into. I had started this project several years ago but never completed it, so I decided to donate all of the materials to the daughter of a friend of mine who just started out embroidery, and I'm sure she would enjoy completing it and experimenting with it. One of the core concepts of the KonMari method is that before you get rid of an item, you sincerely thank it. And the best way to thank an item is to find a better home for it, where it can actually be used and appreciated. I found several items that I hadn't seen or used for several years now, which included like an old paper shredder and some arts and crafts and DIY items, which I packed them up and I donated them to a local school. This brings us to the next step, which is tidy by category and not location. And as you can see with my experience, I found duplicates and triplicates of things which I actually do not necessarily need. I can assure you that planning ahead and following the right order is going to give you exceptional results. Sometimes you run into some random miscellaneous items that somehow go together. For example, I found this Dead Sea salt and some dried flower petals that I was using to create foot soaks and bath soaks, and instead of keeping them separately, I found a creative way of keeping them in a jar and just making it look a bit more presentable. Finding creative and aesthetically pleasing storage solution for a lot of your stuff is going to be an important part of the process, because whatever items that you are left with have to create and spark joy. As you can see, I had a huge dilemma because once I had done sorting and decluttering, I was stuck with these containers which were see-through and they were still creating a lot of visual clutter. Since I really had no intentions of spending more money just to create a more cohesive look with the storage boxes, I found a cheaper solution by creating cardboard inserts from the cardboard that I had lying around. This not only helped to create a more cohesive look, but also created a bit more visual interest. I just used some of the existing items to create a pleasant visual display. 4 hours and 0 expenses later, I think I ended up with a storage cabinet that looked much more pleasing than before. The clutter was reduced significantly, and I found so many items that were not being used for several years that got donated to the right people. I hope you really enjoyed this process because I thoroughly loved it. Please do join us the next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you soon again.